Nabila Ramdani is a Middle East analyst, and she joins me now. He was sworn in, wasn't he, in the Constitutional Court rather than Parliament, because Parliament's been dissolved by his SCAF, the Supreme Council of Armed Forces. What sort of tension is there between this man from the Muslim Brotherhood, a man who was in prison 18 months ago, and the generals?
Yes, indeed. I mean, however you look at it, it's a hugely symbolic day for Mohammed Morsi, not least because he's the first a democratically elected president in decades. He's also the first president not drawn from the military ranks in 60 years. And more crucially, he's the first Islamist president. And as you said, this testifies to the huge tension that remains between the military and indeed the Muslim Brotherhood that he represents. He was imprisoned, as you reminded us, by the military itself, and he very much preempted the official swearing-in ceremony today by addressing crowds on Tahrir Square yesterday, where the revolution started, to effectively make a strong and loud point about the fact that he's a man of the people who is determined to draw his legitimacy from the power of the people and not the military.
A man of the people, but what is the distinction between secular and sacred now? He believes in Sharia law. What assurances has he given Egyptians that he won't turn the country into a theocracy?
Well, that are very much some of the fears that secularists, but also Christians in Egypt, who are of course a minority, 10% of the population are Coptic Christians, are concerned about. And he made everything he possibly could so far to reassure them that his Renaissance project will not be based on Islamic Sharia law.
And he's appointed, has he, a deputy who I think is a woman and a Christian as well?
Very much so. He promised a unity government to draw in people from different backgrounds, from secular backgrounds, from Christian backgrounds, and indeed include women in his government. Now, of course, he will have to transform these promises into reality to make sure that the millions of people who took part in the demonstrations which led to the downfall of Mubarak find also a reassuring figure in Mohammed Morsi.
And he's going to have to manage huge expectations as well, isn't he? And you just look at Egypt and the problems it has in terms of its economy, its infrastructure, corruption. It's a mountain of a task.
He will have an awful lot of work ahead of him, and that's in fact the most terrifying task ahead. He will have to make sure to bring in foreign investors, who are of course crucial to restore some sort of stability into Egypt. And one of the conditions that the IMF made to lend money again to Egypt is that he makes sure that he includes everyone, that it's a country for all Egyptians, and that's he's striving to do. But of course the economic circumstances are the most daunting ones for him.
Yeah, interesting man also, 60-year-old, I think, a son of a farmer from the Nile Delta who then became a professor of engineering. Nabila Ramdani, thank you very much indeed.